Hey everybody, it is Econ with Dave or Mr. View, depending on where you're watching this, whether it's Twitter and or YouTube. Okay, let me get straight on down to the point. I'll make it very quick for you guys. So I went to the farmer's market today. Went ahead, was waiting for my burger and fries. I got it from a beautiful food truck. So in the process of me waiting, this woman comes up to me and she wants me to go ahead and sign something. I guess California has something coming up. And basically, it's a $30 minimum wage increase. I believe that might be near the Olympics, maybe like 1 or 2 years or something like that. And long story short is she's like, "Oh, sign it. This is against it. We have the right. We should be able to vote on it. Why is it just going into place?" And then I finally go back to my table. Of course, I tell her no. I'm like, "I'm not. Please stop harassing me." And so in that process. So I end up eventually going back to the table. I'm over there eating, and then there's this, young college girl. She's like, "Hey, if you guys don't mind, I want to put this down on the table for other people." And that's what I posted on my Twitter. And, it's this little paper, and it's the pro $30 minimum wage. Basically, don't let these SOBs right here take this away from the hard workers. Now, I wanted to make a video because I am a economist. I'm a trained professional economist. So this is my job to understand these things. Now, the problem is you have people that are, political science majors or people that are very proactive, whether you're, on the left or the right or the center, whatever it is, but you want to be politically active for your local community. And, what's very interesting, though, is that most of the times, neither side understands the economic issues underlying in our country. These people, they'll use buzzwords, and they'll be extra, and they'll claim they know the problem, but they don't know jack shit. So the issue is this. Minimum wage is nothing more than the arbitrary limit of how much an employer can pay and not a penny below. Those that get below minimum wage are probably going to be undocumented immigrants that do not have leverage or power over your, standard employer. So now that we know that, and I have to explain the basics because I don't think half of you know the basics, if I'm being honest. So even in the process of understanding this, the problem is the people who are against it are correct in their first thought process. Their execution is poor, and it's the same for both ends. So the first thing is for the right. If you choose to turn around and say, I am anti, minimum wage, I'm this, I'm that. By the way, the reason why that I said they're right, not that every single person will support it, that being, right leaning. But, if you have a conversation with these people, you can eventually find that, right? The problem is that they are correct in the theory that companies and businesses will always look to push up the prices of their products so they can continue to have margin for their shareholders, both public and private. Now, the problem is they're correct with saying in the argument of, yeah, but why is it fair that one segment of the economy gets a huge boost and a raise when all the excess doesn't? If you're a janitor at a, medium-sized business, so you're working in aerospace and you only get a 3% raise. Now, I'm not going to equate what the difference between the hotel workers today and to $30 will be. I don't know how much they actually make. But one thing that I know is this. The way we look at minimum wage is incorrect. Incorrect. You see, the number is arbitrary. I can put it at $1.2 million an hour. I can put it at $1 an hour. It does not matter how much money you give someone if that money cannot buy enough to sustain life. Not a Lamborghini, not a new car, not a new watch, not anything impressive, but basic standard of living. Transportation, whether that's a train that I really prefer, a car, or a bus, or a bicycle, or walking, I don't know. And in the process of us having to deal with this reality, we're left a little bit, fluffed up. Because why does it matter if it's $30 that these people are going to get if the underlying conditions of housing, food, and, the excess standard of living, your GWPs, your, internet bills, your parking, your dog rent, whatever your expenses are, not bullshit, but genuine expenses in order to live. And, you can have it at $30, $40 an hour for these people. But what it's going to do is twofold, because we're not addressing the underlying issue. The real thing isn't for these two people to be yelling and screaming, not that they were, but not to be, in the political arena saying, oh, this is, annoying, we need to stop Karen Bass, oh, she shouldn't be allowed to do that. It should be, let's focus on eliminating property taxes. Let's then focus secondary on eliminating red tape. If you have extra income as a landlord, you should not have that raised on your AGI. If you have a full-time job, a full-time job, you're working as a software developer, and you have a house that you rent and you get $4,000 of extra income, should not be added to your AGI. You've already paid taxes. And I think for every single common person under $200,000, you should not be allowed to have to pay taxes on that excess. Now, I want to get back on the property taxes, because some of you, your eyes are exploding. If you're a homeowner, this is music to your ears. If you're a regular person, this is, oh, David, schools. How are we going to fund local schools? Well, first off, it already doesn't matter. You have a stupid Prop 13, I think it is, where these people, older people, have rates locked in from the early 2000s, where they're paying $700, $800, and the neighbor whose house just sold is $4,000 to $5,000 in property taxes. You have some neighborhoods that are already destroyed, neighborhoods that are rotting, neighborhoods that are stagnant, no growth, no opportunity. Some neighborhoods are thriving. Oh, they're thriving in ways that we can't even comprehend. In the certain neighborhoods, people would rather have their children homeschooled or go to a charter school and have a pass to be able to go to that and bypassing the public school system. And in the process of us having to deal with these things, the thing that we forget so often is we need to be invested in our local communities. If I live in Southern California, I should really be investing in my local community. We should be incentivizing more apartment buildings. We should be incentivizing more housing being built. Everything. Whatever the market is truly demanding for the lowest cost basis should happen. I think apartments should be $500 a month. Again, no property taxes. No AGI raise. Red tape eliminated. Anything that we can to lower that price. People are going to say, well, David, people are going to work together as a monopoly and look to keep the price as high as possible. No, they're not. No, they're not. No, they're not. You incentivize more apartment buildings. You incentivize more tiny homes. You incentivize more standard housing. You incentivize people to convert their useless backyards that half of you people don't even use into 80 units, as we already are today. We can make more available housing, and the free market will determine itself. Even if we only succeed at building an additional 50 to 75,000 units per year in Los Angeles County, if I can eventually get to a point that I see, let's say for regular housing, right? A regular 2-3 bedroom house goes between $3,000 to $6,000 a month, depending on where you live. If that drops by $300, $400, $500, that is life-changing money, because it compounds for a year. That's a lot of extra money in your pocket that's back out. Either you're going to invest it, either you're going to spend it back into the economy, or you're going to do whatever it is else that maybe you'll do. I mean, if you go on vacations, you're stimulating the economy. If you're, choosing to go out and eat more, you're stimulating the economy. You choose to make a garden in your backyard, then all those things are fantastic. But if we're, basically what we have is one person is lighting a fire in the woods, and this hypothetical woods is essentially the idea of trashing the growing and the development and the prosperity of low-wage workers. And then on the other hand, we see, them lighting it on fire. Well, here's the situation. Okay, hello everybody. Sorry about that. I had a quick interruption out here. Got my current doggo out here. They needed to use the bathroom, so we needed to always take care of our pets. Okay, so let me go ahead and then redo my point of what I was saying, and then if you hear any squeaking, it's my dog right here chewing. So the analogy of the woods, let me reword this one more time. So the analogy of the woods is essentially you have people, let's just say on the left, that want to light the woods on fire. And they're lighting it on fire. It's the corporation. They want the corporations to pay. They want the rich to pay. They think that the wealth inequality gap in our country is very unfair. So in the process of them then doing that, then you have the right, and they'll come over and they'll start pissing on that fire. Not only is that to piss off the actual people on the left, but in addition to that, it's to essentially stop their dreams, stop them right where they are. The problem is neither of these sides are planting trees, multi-generational opportunities, including cheaper and affordable apartments. I made videos on it. I'm willing to have conversations with people. I'm an economist. My job is very simple. We want this outcome. We're here. How do we get there money-wise? That's my job. I think all of us should be invested in our local communities. I think that if you own a 401k, it shouldn't be in these stupid fucking stocks to such a heavy weighted average. You should have local bonds that are invested in small projects like the Metrolinks, like the apartments, like tiny homes, building the infrastructure, and having people go ahead and own apartments, own housing, get something, own it. You own it. We can all share property tax together. Larger pool of money swirling back into those schools. You want to protect your local infrastructure, your local businesses. You want to invest locally. And if none of you are willing to have that conversation, none of you care, and this wants to be a giant, pissing contest, well, then don't be surprised about the outcome when both of you losers fail to achieve your goals. But other people, we're not going to fail to achieve our goals. We're going to succeed, and we're going to succeed stunningly. We're going to dominate in ways that you have never seen ever before. And, if we work together as a community, you go stand in the middle of a farmer's market peak. You see all this activity. You see all these people, all of them merging, different cultures, different ideologies, different, everything, different businesses. These are the people that run America. These are the people that are successful. These are the people that we want to emulate in the future, that we want their grandchildren to look back and say, my mother made, strawberries, these little chocolate strawberries, or, she sold insurance, or whatever it is that, they do. And to be a contributing member to your society and to give back in the best way possible. So I just wanted to write that after I had that encounter. Of course, I'm not going to tout someone who's getting paid $20, $25 an hour to get as many signatures as they can. They got to have fucking Craigslist or fucking Indeed to come up to me and want to talk to me about that, because not only do you not care because you're on a time crunch, but also I'm not going to corner you, and I'm not going to be disrespectful to you. I think we need a basic level of decorum. Of course, if you start spitting nonsense and you're just a fucking idiot, then I'm going to tell you that, because I don't care. But the big difference is that in the beginning, it will be 100% respectful. And I'm not going to do that when I'm with my family and I'm enjoying my time trying to eat some yummy empanadas and pizza. So anyways, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you have a fantastic day. You guys are the best. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, let's talk about it. I want debates. I want to talk to people. I want to hear people's opinions. I want to hear about what we can do to improve our local city and infrastructure. Not one side, another side, fighting, ooh, football, ooh, rah, 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 rah. It'll do nothing for us. And in 40 years, we're going to look back and say that the system's broken, the same way that these idiots today are saying that.